day is here. We're finally here. Welcome to the John Cooper School Percussion Group concert, yearly event here. We have been working our tail off for the last 2.5 months to put this program on for you guys, and they are sounding great. We just kind of did a little backwards run through, and you're gonna really enjoy the concert. I'm so proud of these kids and all their work that they've done. We're gonna start it off with the fifth graders. In fifth grade, we spend most of our time on practice pad and marimbas. Yeah, y'all can come on out. We spend most of our technique learning. Yeah, come on out. Just on pads and getting our hands and our technique down, holding the sticks and just doing the fundamentals of music. So it's kind of tricky coming up with a piece for someone at that beginner level, but we found this great practice pad sequence that has a track to it, about a 5-minute long piece, that really kind of does some advanced rhythms and dynamics and things like that. And I was a little scared to program it for these guys, but they're nailing it. They're so talented. We have a great show after that for you. We're going to have a mix of 5th through 12th graders. Everybody's going to have a chance to play as the accompaniment with older kids, as the main person or the main group, and then also as the leader for a younger group. So we've got, and it's all kind of going in an order that way. So everybody gets a chance to kind of play all forms of leadership and different musical styles. We're going to go through Latin, classic percussion. We're going to have a jazz set in the middle. So, and then we're going to end it with a classical arrangement of one of my favorite pieces. So I'll chat a little bit in between just to kill time while we have setup changes. But we're really excited for you all to be here, and I'm really excited to showcase all the talent that John Cooper has. So 5th graders, why don't y'all kick us off, huh?
Five-minute drill. Practice pad full sequence, medium. Legato strokes and dynamics. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Flams and paradiddles. 1, 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Double stroke, ready, go. Buzz stroke and accent tap. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Chicken in a roll. Ready, go. Time to jam. 1, 2, ready, go.
Good job, guys. Let's have our sixth graders come up and join them. Yeah, let's give them another hand. That was awesome. Yeah, you can take it to the side. Yeah, I couldn't do that at fifth grade. I didn't even start until sixth grade. Most schools actually don't. So the fact that they're doing rhythms like that is at fifth grade, it kind of blows my mind being here, you know, that Cooper starts them so early, and that's great for me because that just means they're going to be that much better in a few years, right? Our next piece is called Mimaro, and it's going to feature our sixth graders on the keyboard instruments, and our fifth graders are going to join with some Latin toys to play along with them. This is kind of a Latin waltz, so it's in a 3-fill, and I threw a curveball at them, and I told them I thought they could do this without me. And you'll kind of notice that some of the, I was talking with Mr. Yarbrough, I was like, you know, I'm actually thinking about not conducting a lot of the younger groups' pieces because they're playing them so well. So you'll kind of see me start a few of these pieces and then walk off and let them run after it, right? So it'll add a little bit of tension, but also they're going to do awesome. They sound great, and we're excited to bring this piece to you. So this is Mi Milagro. We also have Tim filling in on congas for us. We need an extra part. He is not in the sixth grade. they finish setting up, I will just kind of introduce these guys. By the way, I apologize. I did not introduce our fifth graders, but we have, why don't y'all wave over here. Colin, we got Colin, and Dawson, and Zeta, and Elia. Yeah, they were awesome, right? As soon as I was going to introduce the sixth graders, I lost two of them. It's typical. That's okay. We're gonna play kind of change it up a little bit and do just a straight drum piece with our sixth graders. It's called Espresso, and kind of the great thing about this piece is, one, is only 4 toms, which is way helpful for me whenever we have to kind of cram into a small room and do some rehearsing. So that was, I like to thank myself for programming this just for that. But it's pretty simple at its core, but you'll notice some kind of traveling rim clicks that are really quite difficult to pull off, and they get it most of the time. So that's the one thing I really like to listen to in the middle of this piece. There's going to be a lot of fun, exciting drummy hits that are together, but then there's going to be some things where they split a 4-part thing between 4 drums around the rim, and if they do it perfectly, it should sound like so that's always kind of the gauge of how well we think the run through goes. So that's the one thing I want y'all to listen for in this piece. So this is called Espresso. Let me introduce them while it's just them on stage. We have Colette, Drew the Groove. We got Noah and Victoria. And they're sounding awesome. And this is another one that about 2 days ago I was like, you know what, y'all don't need me. So I'm not even gonna start them on this one. I'm gonna let Colette take it, okay? Espresso. went pretty good. This next piece is it's called Scuttlebutt, and don't ask me what that is, and I feel like it's just kind of a funny name for a groovy piece. There is a Stevie Ray Vaughan song that is called that, but it has nothing to do with this piece. But ironically, this is a very bluesy piece, kind of just straight old school blues, and it kind of gives everybody a chance to jam a little bit. So you hear a lot of the bluesy stuff at the top, and then in the middle we're going to take some turns, everybody getting a little bit of a solo on the drums so that the keyboards aren't stealing the whole show, you know. And it kind of ends with this big crescendo at the end, and just they're grooving so good on this. I know this is going to be a crowd pleaser. That's what I tell them all the time. This is another one where I'm going to start it. I'm going to get out of the way because y'all don't need to see me. You need to see them. So this is the 6th through 8th graders playing Scuttlebutt. Are y'all ready? No? Okay. We would also like to thank all of you for your support, especially with me adding a bunch of extra rehearsals. And I don't think we had more than 1 or 2 misses on any of those rehearsals, and those were, extenuating circumstances. And I just want to tell you I really appreciate that because I programmed a bunch of tunes that have combined classes. We really only had about 2 or 3 total rehearsals on these pieces that are combined all together. And they were able to put it together in those, the hour and a half rehearsals that we had extra. So we really appreciate you letting your kids come and have a little extra time. I am semi-stalling still a little bit more until I get a thumbs up from Laura. Yes. I'm having a lot more fun talking in front of this than I am for like the high schoolers that I did earlier today. I feel like this is a more intimate kind of percussion crowd, so I can just kind of lay back and chat. All right, Scuttlebutt. That was fun. I'm a fan of that piece. I just like sitting back and grooving to it. Right? If you can't dance to that piece, you need to get out of here. I'm just kidding. So this next set of pieces, this is going to be our 7th and 8th grade feature piece. It's also going to start kind of the jazz portion of our concert. Both tunes are arranged by the famous jazz guitarist Pat Metheny, who's still alive and making music today. One of my favorite artists of kind of all time, and so it's kind of a real pleasure to take two of his big pieces and put it on keyboard and percussion instruments. This one is a ballad. This is kind of our one time to sit back, take a breath, and just listen to some pretty sounds before we start grooving again pretty hard until the end of the concert. So this is going to feature Laura on vibraphone. Yeah. We also bringing in a high school of ours who's an awesome guitarist, but we make him play bass guitar and percussion and anything we throw at him. Occam, back there on bass. Mr. Cool, Ian is going to play drum set for us. And then he's going to take those shades off him for all the classical stuff later. And we're going to hold him to that. But you can keep him on for this one, because you do look cool. Right. Are we good to go, guys? We got to let the soloist be set and ready to go before we go. Okay. Here's another one I'm going to start and get out of the way. try it. Let's give them another hand because that was really good. Yeah, so now going into the upper school, we use a lot more instruments. We pretty much have an empty band hall right now. We have almost everything we own on stage, so this is kind of where the logistics come into play a little bit more. We're going to be swapping some marimbas around, having some different setups in the back. So unfortunately, you get to hear a little bit more of me while they set that up. This is our next jazz piece, and this is, again, by Pat Metheny. It's called Have You Heard? This piece is probably, I think kind of collectively, we kind of all said that as upschoolers, we think this is our favorite. And it goes through a lot of time signature changes. You're going to hear it repeat back to the opening, what's called the head in a jazz tune, which is just kind of the opening melody, the thing that if you're listening to the radio, you know the tune. That's kind of what the head is. And we're going to go back to that quite a bit. In the middle, we're going to have a big solo section. And we've got a handful of folks that have volunteered to kind of leave it all out on the marimba, not the table. And we're going to kind of go down the line and everybody have a little bit of time to solo in our jazz section. We've had a lot of kind of master classes on basic jazz theory, and they seem to think that is the funnest thing that we do. So it looks like we'll kind of keep with the jazz tradition for next percussion group concerts. But yeah, everybody's going to take, almost everybody's going to take a solo in the middle. I might even go and steal a pair of mallets and play a little bit too. And yeah, let's have some fun on this one. This is Have You Heard? that was fun. Did y'all enjoy that? Thank you. So, no joke, that was the last piece of the puzzle that when I was scheduling this back over Christmas break, this was like my favorite tune. I wanted to do this. And because it's my first year at Cooper, it requires such a high level of playing. And it wasn't really worried about them doing it. It was about me having the time to rehearse and do it and having it on myself. And that one was probably the one that was ready the quickest because they just latched onto it so much. And we've just been having a ton of fun with it. And really, we kind of just got the solo stuff down about a week and a half ago. We were kind of avoiding it for a while because we went through some basics. And then when I finally let the reins off and let them play, it was like it just fell into place and it was super easy. And I was like, well, this is going to be awesome. So they're awesome. Your kids are awesome, and I'm super proud to be up here. I will talk more about that at the end. Now we are kind of switch gears real quick and go back to some new percussion rep. It's going to be kind of more formal percussion ensemble sounds, and this was actually a brand new piece that was supposed to be commissioned right before the pandemic hit by a bunch of college ensembles around the nation. And then the pandemic hit, and so it didn't get played as much. So this is actually a piece that only a handful of schools around the nation have played within the last couple of years. And it's a really cool piece called Helix. From the notes that I read is that he composed this piece backwards, which is not typical, which I think is what led him to kind of the idea of a helix, is that the composed piece is at the end, and he had to learn how to break it apart and combine it into what's going to be at the end material. And it's a really neat piece. You're going to hear kind of some overlapping rhythms, playing over the top of each other, swelling in and out. A lot of dynamics, big sections, small sections, different tempos. It's a marathon. It's a great piece, and we're really happy that we put it together and able to perform it for you guys today. So this is the only upper school piece, and I need to introduce everybody. Okay, so we have 10. This is Keon, freshman. Tim's a junior. Sam is a junior. Akam, freshman. Zach, freshman. Susanna, our lone senior. We got Jack on timpani, he is sophomore, and Matthew is also a sophomore. All right, here's Helix. that was our penultimate piece. We are kind of arriving at the end of the concert. This last piece is one of my personal favorite orchestra pieces. I play symphonically at the Houston Symphony, and I hope that guiro didn't break. So I'm most familiar with kind of the orchestral rep, and I wanted to make sure that these guys got a little bit of exposure to kind of my career path, which is definitely more classical based. And this is one of my favorite pieces, and it is called Force of Destiny by Verdi. And it's a really cool arrangement. We all kind of got to sit down and listen to New York Philharmonic play it as a full orchestra piece, one of our class periods, and got to kind of identify how the marimbas are playing a lot of the violin parts and the vibes are playing a lot of the wind parts, right? And it's kind of cool how percussion can translate into something like that so easily. Before we have everybody play, we're also bringing up our 7th and 8th graders here, so we're going to have our largest ensemble here. But before we do that, we do have a senior that is doing her last percussion ensemble concert, and we wanted to give her a little something. So we brought Jack out to give you a nice little thing. So here's Susanna. We want to bring her up. So we got you a little flowers and a little cute little dragon and a nice card signed by all of us. I just wanted to say a few words about Susanna. She has been my right-hand gal since I've gotten here. You know, me coming into a new situation at the last second, I relied heavily on her for all things Cooper, kind of rounding all of these kids up at different places, and she knew the protocol, and she kind of taught me as much as I taught her this year. So I just personally wanted to thank you for all your work, and I know she's such a hard worker, and I know she's going to be super successful. Where are you going to college again? Grinnell. She's going to Grinnell, and we all know that she's going to succeed in life, and because she's on top of everything. She's never been late to anything. She's always there. She rounds them all up. So I personally want to thank you, and we all want to thank you for being a part of this group, right? Thank you. Here, I'll leave them up here for you. Okay, how we doing, guys? We ready? All right. Let's finish this bad boy off, right? So this is Verdi's La Forza del Destino. The Force of Destiny. coming. Now y'all get to hang out for at least 10 to 15 minutes while we pull all this gear back to the band hall. But thank y'all for coming. It was a great show.